Alright guys, let's go ahead and talk about fish shell features. So fish shell is another shell similar to bin and bash, except it has a lot of extended features to it. So fish shell is a smart and user-friendly command line shell for Linux, Mac OS, and the rest of the family. Fish is a more modern shell with the goal of being more interactive and more user-friendly than older shells such as bin bash. Unlike its competition, Fish is not based on the Bourne shell or the C shell, but attempts to blaze its own path. So Fish shell comes with some nice features such as auto suggestions as you type, syntax highlighting with extensive error checking, searchable command history, 256 terminal colors, advanced tab completion, web-based configuration. A special help command gives access to all Fish documentation in the user's web browser. Error messages designed to actually tell the user what went wrong and what can be done about it. Universal variable supports the X clipboard. You can change Fish settings by editing the file home config fish config.fish file. Man page completions, fully scriptable with syntax that is simple, clean, and consistent, and features work out of the box without any configuration. Guys, this is all nice and great. However, typically you're going to be using the bash shell. So I will show you some examples of how the fish shell works, but bash is really what you're going to be using for the most part. Eventually things may shift over to this fish shell, but that's going to take time. You're going to realize that companies are slow to upgrade, okay? And they stick with things as long as they can while they're still supported and working. And once it runs out of support and it has to be upgraded, that's when they do it. So go ahead and get familiar with the bash shell and don't worry too much about fish shell right now. So fish shell runs just like the other shells. So for example here, it has the same command echo and hello world, and it'll display hello world. We can do make directory my/files. Okay, and we can copy just like in the other one, home/some, and then my files. Okay, and we can do an ls of my files, and it'll show that file in there. We can also list JPEG files using the same meta characters we talked about for ls star.jpg, and it'll list all the files that ends in jpeg.jpg. We can also put those stars in between, so it'll list all files that start with an L, end with a .p, and start with a .p. Okay, just like this. And we can pipe just like we did before. We can say echo hello world and give us a word count. 1 line, right? 2 words, 12 characters. So fish shell is nice, and it works just the same as much as the other shells do.